Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. We talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Ernest Jeffrey. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. The 2024 UFL season is coming to a close, and the championship game is going to be on Saturday evening at 5 o'clock Eastern Time on Fox between the Birmingham Stallions and the San Antonio Brahmas. And I'm going to go over whether I believe that the Stallions or the Brahmas are going to end up being the 2024 UFL champion and what I think the final score will be. Now, the 2024 UFL season has had a lot of ups and downs. A lot of people think that it was a success, being its first actual season of play since the USFL and XFL combined, and other people thought it was a bit of a lackluster first season. But one thing you can say is that the product of play was better overall, since most of the best players from the USFL and the XFL ended up combining together into this league. So I do think the product was a little bit better overall, and I think that the teams at the top actually were pretty fun to watch. Now, the teams at the bottom, there were some rough teams, like the Memphis Showboats. They weren't very good this season at all, but the teams that actually ended up making the UFL playoffs this year did have pretty good teams overall. And the Birmingham Stallions, they knocked off the Michigan Panthers in the USFL playoff semifinal. And what's so ironic about this game is that Adrian Martinez ended up getting benched. And what's even funnier is that he was the MVP of the entire league. So the quote-unquote best player in the entire UFL, according to the awards, ended up getting benched in the playoff game against the Michigan Panthers. But the Birmingham Stallions did end up winning, and it was a good decision by Skip Holtz because Birmingham was losing to Michigan when Adrian Martinez was in the game. But then when he exited the game, Matt Corral came in, who has actually played some for the Birmingham Stallions this season. We know he was a really good quarterback in college. So Matt Corral is a very capable quarterback. Both of them threw a pick, though, against the Michigan Panthers. But at the end of the day, the Birmingham Stallions were able to move on to the championship game. And according to this article, it says that the Stallions are going to be sticking with the starting quarterback for the UFL title game, but only time will tell in that regard. But the Birmingham Stallions, they are looking to three-peat, and I will clear up a mistake that I made in my previous video. I did mix up the Birmingham Stallions and the DC Defenders when I said that Birmingham lost in the championship game last year in the USFL. The Birmingham Stallions, they've won back-to-back titles with Skip Holtz at head coach, and they're looking to three-peat, just like UConn is trying to three-peat in college basketball coming up this next season as well. But we'll have to see if the Birmingham Stallions can do it, regardless of who ends up playing most at quarterback. But what's standing in their way is the San Antonio Brahmas, and they were able to knock off the St. Louis Battlehawks by a score of 25-15, and I ended up predicting this game wrong. I said the Stallions were going to end up making this championship game, but I thought the St. Louis Battlehawks, being at home, were going to be able to win. But A.J. McCarron did not have his best game. But what really sealed the deal in helping the San Antonio Brahmas win was their ground game. They ran for over 200 yards in this matchup, and Chase Garbers being healthy ended up being the icing on the cake. I wasn't sure if he was going to be able to play, and Cody Latimer being out for the season is a tough blow at wide receiver / tight end. But San Antonio's ground game made up for any troubles in the passing game, and since Chase Garbers was able to play, despite him having a pick, he threw 2 touchdowns and was solid enough overall for San Antonio to get a fairly comfortable win over the St. Louis Battlehawks, a team that was much better in the XFL last year than the San Antonio Brahmas. And San Antonio, they were not a good team last year because they had Hines Ward at head coach. Now they have Wade Phillips at head coach, and he is a guy just like Skip Holtz that has had a lot of experience coaching, and I don't think it's any surprise that Skip Holtz and Wade Phillips were able to lead their respective teams to the championship game this year. When you have a lot of experience and you're great coaches, your teams are usually going to reflect that. And the only difference for Wade Phillips, though, versus Skip Holtz is Wade Phillips has never won a championship in any football league, whether it's been the NFL or the XFL / UFL. Skip Holtz has the 2 titles, but Wade Phillips, he does have a Super Bowl ring under his belt being a defensive coordinator back in the day at the Denver Broncos in 2015. But he probably wants to add a UFL title under his belt as well. But San Antonio had a much better team this season. They were one of the teams that benefited from a new head coach and much improved players being added to the roster this season versus what they had last year. And that is being reflected in this poll. I asked people on Twitter which team they thought will win the 2024 UFL championship game. And Birmingham, even though they are favored to win, according to people's votes, it's only by 58% versus San Antonio's 42%. So even though more people agree that Birmingham will end up three-peating, some people are gambling on the San Antonio Brahmas thinking they're going to get it done. And actually, Birmingham is only favored by 3 points to win win this game, which you would think Birmingham might be favored by a little bit more. They were favored by 6.5 points against the Michigan Panthers. But I will say, this game is not going to be played on the Birmingham Stallions field. A lot of times in these alternative spring football leagues, in the championship game, the team with the better record has that home field advantage in the championship game, but not here. In the semifinals, San Antonio actually had to play at St. Louis since St. Louis held the tiebreaker against San Antonio. In Birmingham, they had the home field advantage over the Michigan Panthers because they had a better record. But the championship game is going to be played in St. Louis, so that's going to make it a more even matchup for both of these teams, with the crowd not really favoring one team over the other. I'm sure there's going to be more Birmingham Stallions fans, though, than San Antonio, but maybe not by a ridiculous amount. So which team do I think is going to end up winning the 2024 UFL championship game at the end of the day? I believe it's going to go down to the wire either way. Both teams are playing excellent football. Birmingham has a really good defense. They've always prided themselves on defense, and that's why they've been able to win the 2 back-to-back titles in the USFL. And now they're trying to get a 3rd straight title in a row, and they're first in the UFL. But Wade Phillips, even though he doesn't have those championships under his belt like Skip Holtz does, he's a good coach. He's shown a lot of fire and energy this season, and his team has been playing great football this year. I thought that win over St. Louis was very impressive, being able to win on the road against a team that had previously had their number. And San Antonio, even though they've had some injuries, they are fairly healthy now overall, minus Cody Latimer, with Chase Garbers being healthy, and their ground game is very tough. But Birmingham, it's just going to come down to whether Adrian Martinez or Matt Corral, whoever ends up playing, has a great game at quarterback, and then I think the rest will take care of itself. If their quarterback play is stellar and they don't turn the ball over, which Adrian Martinez is fairly prone to do, Skip Holtz could then go with Matt Corral. And as long as Matt Corral doesn't turn it over either, then I think the Birmingham Stallions offense might be a little bit too potent for San Antonio's defense, despite the fact San Antonio's defense is much improved this season because they did hold St. Louis to only 15 points. I think this game's going to be decided by a field goal, and neither team really has that home field advantage, which is probably why the spread is so close. But I am going to end up going with the Birmingham Stallions to knock off the San Antonio Brahmas 24-21. I just trust Skip Holtz enough that I think the Birmingham Stallions are going to end up winning another title. I am a little bit cautious, though, because San Antonio is hungry, and I know they're going to want to win that title. And it is very tough to win 3 titles in a row in any sport, but I do think Skip Holtz is going to have San Antonio's number just by a bit, and they're going to find a way to squeak out a win with a late game winning field goal for the Birmingham Stallions to knock off the San Antonio Brahmas in the 2024 UFL championship game by a score of 24-21. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, whether you agree with my pick that the Birmingham Stallions are going to three-peat and knock off the San Antonio Brahmas in the 2024 UFL championship game, or whether you believe that San Antonio will spring the upset again, just like they did against St. Louis in the semifinals, and win the UFL inaugural title, and Wade Phillips can get his first title as a head coach. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I'll see you next time.